Dr. Brian Williams, thank you so much. We appreciate it. So you're running for Congress. Why, and what is the rationale for your campaign?
Jack, I'm running for Congress because we are in a crisis, and I've always responded during times of crisis. This was an ethic that I internalized during my earliest days as a cadet at the Air Force Academy, and I've continued that throughout my time as a doctor and also serving on the Hill. So we have a crisis of an epidemic of gun violence, which is a leading cause of death for American children. We have health care that is inaccessible and affordable to millions of Americans, and we have an ongoing attack on reproductive freedoms right now. So as a veteran, I respond to the call, but as a doctor, I've seen firsthand the impact that some of these policies have on my patients. And I'm running for office to be part of the solution. And I've also had a chance to work on the Hill. I served with some of the most influential Democratic leaders of our time to actually work on these laws that will uplift billions of Americans. I served for Senator Chris Murphy, and we passed the gun safety bill last year, which is the most significant gun safety legislation in nearly 30 years. Worked in the office of Speaker Pelosi, working on healthcare affordability, accessibility, mental health reform. So I've seen this work. It seems hopeless sometimes, but I've seen what is possible on a bipartisan basis in Washington. And me running for office it's just a culmination of the work I've been doing for the past 7 years since the mass shooting of police officers here in Dallas in July 2016, which was a moment that changed me and made me realize there is more I can do to serve my community and promote healing outside the hospital. And that's why I've chosen to run for office now, to be part of the solution and have the privilege and responsibility to serve my community I call home as their representative in Congress.
So talk to me a little bit about, because I remember, obviously that dark day here in Dallas, the shooting of those officers. And I remember you being in the ER and one of the doctors to talk about what happened and the care that was provided to these police officers. And so talk to me about your decision then to work in Congress behind the scenes.
July 7th, 2016, that's a night that I still think about every day. It is always with me, and it was a transformative moment for me. My inability to save those police officers that night is something that sticks with me, and I still remain close to some of the family members, some of the survivors from that incident. But after that, I realized that there was only so much I can do in the hospital in my white coat to promote healing within our society. There was much more I can do outside of the hospital. And that's when I began to think, what could I do? The Mayor Rawlings appointed me to chair the Police Review Board. So I had a chance to work in the community with the police officers, the police associations, city council, and community members to how do we work to promote healing and trust between the police and our civilians. Judge Jenkins asked me to serve as a special advisor for health equity during COVID. So I had a chance to serve the county as well to promote health equity and accessibility to healthcare during one of a once in a century pandemic. And I just carried that work with me when I went to Washington last year to work on these policies and laws that will impact millions of Americans. So when we look back to 7/7, I can really define my life before that moment and after. And now here we are 7 years later, and it's really just the culmination of everything I've done in the last 7 years. Now looking to my community to say, I want to be your representative in Congress. I want that obligation, the responsibility, and that privilege. This is my home. This is where we're raising my daughter, my wife and I. It's personal to me, it is special, and I look forward to the chance to let the community members know that, hey, I can be your leader in Congress.
And why do you think you are the best Democrat in what will be a crowded field to, run and be the nominee?
I got into this race because there's a crisis going on. So as a veteran